What's going on, everybody? Tamar Turner here, coming to you with another episode of the Down to Business podcast. And so, we know the saying often goes third time's a charm, but in this case, second time is the charm. So, I was able to link up with my boy Nard again. And so, for those of you who may not remember episode 37, People Over Profit, we talked about Work Nard and everything that he does with that organization and how he, wants people to really hone in on their goals, focus on really becoming a better self. But for this episode, we were able to talk about his nonprofit organization and what they're doing in the community and the change that they're bringing to the youth. So very excited to get into all the details surrounding PhilaEDA, and very excited for everything that NAR was not only able to debut in this episode, but also tease and give you guys some things to look forward to. So without further ado, I don't want to spoil any more surprises or give away anything. Enjoy episode 70, Change the Narrative. What's going on, everybody? I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of the Down to Business podcast here with Tamar Turner. And this one is surreal just because, this is actually the first person who I've been able to bring on twice. And this is not even twice as a follow-up. This is twice as another venture, still making an impact in his community, still doing the thing. Somebody who, we definitely tap back in with WorkNAR. We definitely tap back in with People Over Profit. And that was just a great episode, where he talked about everything that he did, just wanting to be life changing for people, just wanting them to really hone in on themselves, just figure out, about wellness, about physical activity, about everything like that. But what we're here to talk about today, man, this one hits near and dear to my heart, especially, just coming from Philadelphia, coming from a lot of public schools and growing up and everything like that. But really hits near and dear to me just because I've been watching everything that he's been doing for my personal page. And I'm definitely hoping to partner with him and moving forward. So it's definitely things that we've talked about. But I'm excited, man. But Nar, how you doing, bro? How's everything going?
Everything's going well, my brother. I'm blessed, just like you. I'm focused. I'm hungry, and I'm happy. I'm genuinely happy. Everything in my life right now is going the way it needs to go to. I have the right people in my life right now, encouraging me, motivating me, helping me out. So I can't complain. I'm just trying to stay the course and keep doing the will of God, what He told me to do.
That's all it is, just walking in that purpose, for sure, for sure. So for the people who didn't tap into episode 37, for the people who didn't really tap in with People Over Profit, can you just, first give us a little bit of background about that and just kind of reminisce on some of the things that we spoke about and what you're really offering? Because, we've definitely gained some fans since then. Definitely gained some different people learning their stories, but learning about my previous episodes. So, yeah, can you just give us a little bit of background about what you do with WorkNard currently?
Right. So right now, currently with WorkNard, I'm a personal trainer and a life coach, and also a community mentor. So with that, I just help people reach their goals mentally, physically. Help people write out business plans, strategize whatever their business needs are. As a life coach, come with them with any, if people come with me with problems or questions and things of that matter. So I help, ask them sporadic questions and help them find the issue on their own and guide them to that without actually giving them the answers in the whole. So actually asking them those questions to unlock things that they might have never even thought about, to actually reach those goals in their own. So that's really what the thing with WorkNard that we've been, building on with that, keeping the challenges going with that. So we have the mature order challenge. So no drinking, no smoking, no sex, no excessive spending, no excuses, what we're really focusing on this month. It's been a thing that myself and my roommate that I had in college when I was at Morehouse, we started this in 2018 and just started off with just no smoking and just figuring out how can we really elevate ourselves, separate ourselves from our masses and our peers, but also stay focused and actually get things done. And we felt like smoking was inhibiting us from actually getting to those goals that we wanted. So it just started off with smoking, but now it's just elevated and it's advanced from there, which, I'm happy about. But that's like kind of the update with that. And just what People Over Profit is what it speaks in itself, focusing on how can I impact the community? How can I impact the people around me, whether it's horizontally, vertically, back or behind, and really focus on them and let the money come. Because, money is currency. It's always flowing. It's always going to be here. But the people at the end is, who you really want to impact at the end of the day. So that's really what we spoke about in the last interview.
Man, he just walked us through the whole interview. You ain't even really got to play it, and you got somebody who tapped in for sure. But okay, I love that, bro. Just it takes a lot of reflection sometimes. It takes really looking at ourselves. It takes even others holding us accountable. but not only others holding us accountable, we have to first hold ourselves accountable. It's one thing for somebody to be able to call you out on something, for somebody to from the outside looking in, but it's also another thing when you realize that's a problem within yourself. It's another thing when you realize that when you take that away or cut that back or whatever the case may be, or just practice that self discipline, the changes and what can come forth from that. So love work now. Like I said, for everybody out there, if you haven't tapped into that episode, definitely tap into that episode. Tap into every episode after that and before that, just the same, because it's gems all the time. So, what are we here to talk about today, bro? Can you just tell us, a little bit about, yourself for the people who are still catching up and everything like that? But can you also tell us what brings you on the podcast again today?
So today, what brought me on the podcast is to bring more awareness to my nonprofit that I have in Philadelphia. I spoke on it a little bit in the last interview that I had with you, just a little bit, be on the lookout for PhilaEDA, but now it's here. So PhilaEDA stands for Philadelphia Entrepreneurial Development Academy, where our mission is to educate the inner city youth in Philadelphia to define life in their own terms through real-world business and technological programming, schooling, education. We're a 501c3 tax-exempt organization, and our biggest initiative right now is that we're opening up a charter high school in Philadelphia. So we're in preparation of submitting our applications to the school board in November, and God willing, we'll be granted acceptance, and we'll open up for the 2022-2023 academic year at the end of August, beginning of September of next year. So that's what brings me on today, is just bringing more awareness, talk about the education system in Philadelphia, why I'm here, what really engaged me, to prompted me to open up this business, start this business, and where we're
Right
at
now.
now.
So that was loaded. That was deep. That was impactful. All of that. So let's unpack a little bit. Let's rewind some things. Let's draw it back a little bit. Okay. So Philadelphia, give me the EDA one more time.
Philadelphia Entrepreneurial
Right
Development
now.
Academy.
So with coming out with that name just in itself, for somebody from the outside looking in, for somebody just hearing Philadelphia EDA for the first time, for somebody you may even be talking to, just a word of mouth type thing, they want to know more. Where did that start from? Where did the EDA come from to combine all of that together, to put it together, to throw into the name? Why that?
Honestly, it was just a bunch of every day since August 1st of 2020. I've been taking notes. I've been a student of the game. So I've gone through 5 different notebooks thus far, just being a student, from looking at interviews, looking at people that inspired me to be a business owner, from learning more about my industry. And through that, I was just trying to just strategize, like, what's next? What's next? All right, I have WorkNard. I have the foundation of that going. I have the real estate stuff going in DC. I'm getting through grad school right now. So it's like, what's next after this? And it was like, why Philadelphia? Why don't I go back home from where I was born and raised and make an impact? And what for me, it was like, okay, Phila, ED, it was like EDA, yeah. That was like education, and then I was like, okay, education. I'm an entrepreneur. Philadelphia is more like, there used to be a big manufacturing city. It's a lot of entrepreneurs that come out of Philadelphia. There's a very entrepreneurial type of environment. Okay, entrepreneurial development. Okay, what are we focusing on? We're focusing on development, the inner city youth, academy, education. So that's kind of like where everything came aligned to, just from strategizing, being a student. So that's where Philly EDA
Right now,
came from.
I like every
Was
bit of
just
that.
over time.
You taking you not only are doing research and knowing just what your city is and what it's known for and different things like that, but you're also thinking about yourself. You're also thinking about the mission, the message that you want to propel to others. Because, like I said, it's going to be a lot of people who tap in with this, or who see this, or who may not know necessarily. But when you break it down like that, when you see it like that, they can even make their own ties and different connection like that. So something that you really spoke about in the beginning, something that I even introduced you as, was that this was like a follow up. This was, and you even spoke about it when you recanted on the interview and said that this was something that at the end you kind of just dropped the spoiler, kind of just dropped the teaser, what to look forward to and everything like that. So now that you're here, now that you've been moving forward with it, the charter school is in the works and everything like that. What really was that process like? What has that feeling been like from the time we pressed stop on that interview to everything that you knew you had to get to do to bring Philly EDA to what it is today?
It's been work. It's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of late nights, early mornings. It's been a growth process for me, because it's not just me now. I have a team. I have a team of 10 people under me. from a board of directors to an executive team to a management team. So being able to empower and motivate them to create the buy-in with them so they can create the buy-in with our stakeholders, but also making sure that I'm delegating effectively, that I'm being the best leader that I can be, being the best, motivator that I can be for the team. But just the process in itself is new. I've never been in the education industry before, so and most of the majority of my team hasn't been in the education industry before. Only two of the people that are on my team combined have 40 plus years of experience in education. Everybody else is in different sectors, from armed forces and military and entrepreneurship to finance to marketing to just a college student right now. So we have, from project management and things of that matter, we have a broad spectrum of people on the team, but the synergy amongst us brings together PhilaEDA and actually helps us, and has helped not only myself but the organization as a whole progress as fast as we've been able to progress this far. But the idea came about in September of 2020, but we didn't announce it until May of this year. So we just been putting the groundwork in, planning things out, writing out the business plan, finding partners, finding sponsors, and we have 10 right now. Just finding different way. Okay, we have to give you a 501c3 tax exempt, so taking the process to go through that and working with the IRS and waiting about 6 months to get the approval for that, and biting my teeth like, oh man, like, are we gonna get it? Like, what's going on? Like, so it was a lot of anxiety, a lot of hopefulness, a lot of faith that had to come within this, but it's looking hopeful, and we've been able to partner with a lot of people in the Philadelphia area. We've had one program ourselves that we've hosted called Youngpreneur, which was a pop-up shop in Philadelphia where we were able to shed light on current entrepreneurs and new entrepreneurs as well, and younger entrepreneurs. And we were able to have 10 different vendors ranging from 4 years old to 40 years old to actually come out and showcase whatever products and services that they had. And that buy-in with the community in itself as our first event was great. It was a lot of pros and cons that came with it, with it being our first event, but overall it was a success. And from then we've been able to be at have a vending table at other events and create input and buy-in, and everything's just been going as planned right now. But overall, it's just been work. It's just been a lot. Just being in a new industry and working with a team of people that share the same passion. But just working with a team as anything and being a leader, you got to understand that they're not going to have the same drive and hunger as you about what your dreams are and what your vision are. They can align with it. They can respect it. They can say, oh, you know what? I actually like that idea. I want to help you with that. But the hunger and that burning desire that you have for that vision and that dream of yours, no one else is going to have that with you. So that's something that I've had to really adjust within this process, just in our meetings, within my delegation, just as a leader and leading this team. That's just something that I've had to work on myself, and I hope I'm doing a good job.
Look, you hear, like you said, it's been work. It's been having that faith, like you talked about. But something that you really touched on, the word that you used that I absolutely love, was synergy. It's just about, while you said the experience is diverse, it's ranging, it's in different areas. If everybody's kind of added a different team. So can you kind of just shed some light on, one, not only the importance of a team. We both know, what it's like to be a one-man band. We both know what it's like to have to do things on your own, to, like you even spoke on to end your last answer, about just nobody is going to go as hard for you and yours and what you do as you, bro. So yeah, can you not only just shed some light on the importance of a team, but then can you also shed some light on how, in this scenario, like you said, with you and your experience in education, how has having a diverse team really allowed for that synergy to show in PhilaEDA?
As a team, as a whole, there's a saying that I've used and that I actually picked up from this book by Ray Dalio called Principles. But he said an organization and building a team is like jazz. So nothing is ever going to be in sync on the first try. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes patience. And it might not be in a month, it might not be in 6 months, it might take a year for a team to fully go through levels of an organization, from forming, norming, storming, performing, and then achieving, those different stages within any type of team dynamic. So the importance of having a good team is key. but also having people that are knowledgeable within that particular industry is key as well. And that's something that I've learned along the way as we've been able to just craft out this application in our curriculum for the school is that 85 to 90% of our team not having experience in education or writing a charter school application. Not, I wouldn't say it slowed us down, but a lot of that, how can I say, a lot of that time and effort and work had to be put on to myself because, I'm the president, so I had to learn this industry, but also the other two people that are in education. So, the people on my team, they're just volunteering. They're not getting paid for this. They're volunteering their time, their effort, and their support to help this organization get to where it needs to be. So that in itself is not going to encourage people to want to put their all into it. It's like, okay, I'm doing all this work, but I'm not getting paid for it. But that goes into the whole people over profit thing. It's like sometimes you gotta be okay with not being paid for something or being paid for the less that you are, because at the end you're going to get rewarded for all that in the back end. So when it comes to a team dynamic, the importance of having a strong team is important. People that align with your vision, align with your passion, but also have the skills, knowledge, and ability to perform the duty that they need to do. So each person in my team, even though they're not in the education system, they're knowledgeable in their particular field, right? For instance, I have Dominique Marsh and Frank Richardson that are my financial advisors and my financial directors. They're in finance. I was a business major at Morehouse, but I wasn't a finance major. They're a finance major. They know how to look at the markets and trends better than I do. They know how to do certain calculations better than I do. So why not put people that are better than you in those positions? They might not be in the education system, but they're in that industry where they can perfect their craft. Putting people in positions to not only perfect their craft, but learn something new to not only put on their track record, but to be like, I learned something. I learned something new. I can add this to my repertoire. So if this comes up again, I'm able to do that. I have, my marketing director, Alexis and Janine. They have experience in marketing. I have experience in marketing doing WorkNAR, but they do marketing. Like that's them. So I'm gonna put them in the position to do marketing. I have my mom, which has 20 years of experience, our secretary, and 20 years of experience in education, works for a charter school right now in Philadelphia. I'm putting her in a position to help me understand the dynamics of education and what the process is to create a school and all that type of thing. Like she won't be working for the school, but she's helping with the organization, the nonprofit. So having Miss Andrea, our board director, who was a project manager over strategic and engineering for Boeing. So getting that corporate experience from her and that project manager experience in terms of how can I effectively delegate tasks to my team? How can I effectively empower my team? How can I effectively make sure that we're meeting these deadlines and that we're scoping out our project the right way, that we're making sure that we're aligned within our, means of finance, making sure that the finance that we're trying to put up is aligned with our project deadlines, So having different people and different components that are better than you and bringing those to one is empowering as a team. And then what was your second
And no,
question?
you really brought both together. So I was more so going to say one, what is the not only what is the importance of the team, which you answered, but also what is the importance of having a diverse team. So you talked about it, just being able to recognize that you're here, that you have experience in here, but somebody could be here and also have experience in here, but have experience. So you basically kind of fill those holes, bro. And I love that just because it gets to the point now where it's just like we know our skill set, we know our ability, we know what we don't know in a sense. And it's just like sometimes you really have to put that pride aside and just admit that you may not necessarily know something, or you may not necessarily be as skilled as this said person. And then on top of that, to me, that just sounds like nothing but love. The fact that obviously people know what goes into running a nonprofit organization. People know that at the end of the day, you really just have to have that passion, that love for the something that you really want to do. So the fact that people are doing this essentially out of the kindness of their heart, out of the impression that you made on them, out of the belief and support for the mission, bro, that's a lot in itself. So I love every bit of that. But it's also not only teaching you something, it's teaching them things in the process, because I'm pretty sure that, everybody wasn't well versed in just everything. Granted, yes, you can be good with finances, but now you're dealing with finances when it comes to a nonprofit and educating. You have to go about things a certain way. Yes, you can be good, when it comes to social media management, but there are certain things that you have to do in order to appeal to your crowds and how you want it to go. So, bro, that's important. But I love every bit of that, because it really just shows you the not only the beauty in the process, but how the beauty can really show when you trust the process, when you believe in the process, when you full force go towards the process. So, just in thinking about the process, just in thinking about having to go through different things, just in even thinking about, adopting new skill sets, learning about different things. You coming into this education space, you coming into this nonprofit space, you really wanting to propel this mission, you really wanting to, give back in a sense, spread love, all of that. What has been the biggest eye opener for you with PhilaEDA?
The biggest eye opener is that the community's been waiting for this. That's the biggest eye opener for me, is that I didn't know how important and how like of a priority this organization was needed in the community. Just from us going out to the community at these events and just pitching it to them, and not just the newer generation, but like the older generation, like our parents and our grandparents are like, man, I've been waiting for this to come. Like this has been needed. Like we used to have stuff like this back in the day, but they just took it away. And some people that don't know about Philadelphia, I kind of spoke to it in the beginning, but Philly used to be a big manufacturing city. So, like a lot of people in the city of Philadelphia were tradespeople, worked in construction, worked in, the warehouses and things of that matter. But a lot of people also started their own businesses. So, most of the 49% of the population is minority in Philadelphia, but we make up 80% of the work, like the businesses in Philadelphia, and they're all minority owned. From Broad Street to Stanton Avenue to Germantown Avenue to 52nd Street and West Philadelphia, Woodland Avenue and Southwest, all of those are minority owned businesses. But we only make up 49% of the population. In the school system right now, majority of the schools are underperforming when it comes to public school system. They're underperforming, they're underfunded, they have a lack of resources. A lot of these schools are shutting down, and it's even more. A lot of schools are shut down even more because of COVID. And now they're building these schools up that shut down into apartment complexes, into clubs, into lounges, into things that aren't education curriculum. So now the barrier in education in Philadelphia is high, but there's no space for any education institutions to open up because all the spaces are taken from more commercial or home residential type of facilities. So now these students have to go and be packed into one of these schools, where most of these schools are either special admit or lack of performing schools in the general. So there's a lot of charter schools being opened up, from Mastery to Crystal Ray to you have Imhotep, the first charter school that was opened up in Philadelphia, the whole nine. But this education system as a whole in Philadelphia has taken a downward spiral in the last 15 to 20 years. So I would just say just the most eye opening experience for me is just how needed this has been in the community for so long, and just the buy-in that has been getting from the community for overall.
And man, that honestly, just in hearing that answer, it really just makes me think about when I started my podcast in 2019, how I was just so much, and I'm not sure how much of this you can relate to, but I'm sure some of it you'll understand where I'm coming from. So back in 2019, I was really just so worried about perfecting it, so worried about, appealing to the right people, so worried about making the announcement so fire and coming out with a nice logo and a graphic and this and that. But for me, certain people just looked at me after I gave them the idea and were just like, bro, just do it. Just start it. Like, you really don't know until if you, and it's something that I think about too, because it's just like, yo, if you spend so much of your time, if you spend so much of your life, if you just hone in so much on just trying to be perfect and trying not to be wrong and trying to just have everything lined up from A to Z, bro, you'll be forever before you finally come up with something. But then on top of that, how do you progress from that? If you really sent it, because nothing is going to be 100%, but if you really spent time making something 99.9, where do you go from there? Well, 99.91, 99. That's not really much, but you want to start maybe at that think about it, starting at maybe your 20%, or what you consider maybe your 30%. and then move into another 30%. Now you're at 60. So now you halfway onto the path of where you want to be. So it really just makes me think about, and what you said, we need this. Or sometimes you really don't understand how important it is, how vital it is for you to step into a certain space, for you to be a part of something until you really get into it. And I love that, just because, like you said, as an eye opening as it was for you, I could definitely say the same about me, bro. I didn't realize that. Yes, I definitely knew I was surrounded by some dope individuals. Definitely knew that there was some people out there, both family, friends, um, acquaintances, whatever you want to call them, that were going to reach out to me and we were going to figure things out. But then I realized the vast majority of dope individuals out there who were reaching out to me, who were saying, "Dag, I was waiting for some exposure," or "Dag, I'm so glad you did this," or "Dag, like this was really what we wanted to see." No, bro, like it was something to me. I was just like, damn, like, well, if that was the case, I'd have did this in 2018 when I first got to college or something like that. I would have really just had at it. Like it's just crazy. Like in 2014, excuse me, when I first got to college, not 2018, but not. But it's just crazy to think about, sometimes how we're so reluctant or so remiss to really enter something. But then when we finally, just balls to the wall, just all money in, just do it. Like, wow, yo, we was waiting on you. Like, what took you so long, in a sense, or something like that. So it's just like, from there, that's even motivating. It makes you really want to turn it up a notch. It makes you really want to give back. It makes you even want to impact more. And then those are people who you can use, for references. Those are people who you can get feedback from, because these are the people who, have seen it. I've seen it come. I've seen it go. And so can tell you what to do, what to not do, what worked, in this particular time. It gives you, a basis to shape things off of. So I love that. So just in thinking about what you're trying to do, from a charter school to just the impact that you're trying to have, to really the global, like, the shift that this could really have, in a sense. But what is something that, thinking about where we are right now, September going into October, where do you want PhilaEDA by the end of the year? What is something that that you want to kind of check off that list? What is, and thinking about everything, like I said, from the time that we talked in episode 37, so all of the work that you had to put in. What is something that you're ready to knock off the list, or what is something that's in the process of being knocked off, without obviously giving us too much or teasing some things that you can't tease?
No, definitely. Well, first is definitely getting our letter of intent accepted by the school district. We have to submit that October 15th of this year. We have it ready. It's just now we just gotta just send it in. So getting that's the first step, to opening up the school, is that acceptance of our letter of intent. So that's something that I'm waiting to just be accepted from the school district. So now it's like, okay, we're one step closer. Um, Something that just happened not too long ago, actually yesterday, I actually went to go look at the facilities of the different schools, locations that we could possibly enter in. So that was something that we were able to check off our checklist. Is okay, we found different locations. I was able to tour them. I was able to look at what they look like, look into the feasibility, the financial feasibility of that, the location. All right, cool. Okay, that's checked off. Now it's like, okay, what's going to be the best fit, price wise, location wise, and suitability wise for our organization to actually upkeep, manage, and actually sustain over a long period of time. Next is to get more fundraising on the aspect. So we're a 501c3 tax exempt organization, but we're also accepting donations via GoFundMe, Cash App, and PayPal. So from that, we have like almost $1,200 raised right now on our GoFundMe. But I want us to get to at least 10K by the end of the year. I'll try to 10X that. 12K. Let's get 12K by the end of the year. 10X it for real. I want us to get to 500 signatures on our petition by the end of the year. We're almost at 200 right now, so trying to get at least 300 more by the end of the year. I want my team to just continue to evolve and grow within their own avenues within their craft and business, to bring that same energy and that knowledge and help the organization grow. I want to get 50 more high school applications signed from parents and students that are interested in our school. I just want this brand, this initiative, this organization to just grow. I want us to be featured in a bunch of magazines, radio ads. I just want to get a bunch of exposure to this because it's needed. It's a great cause, and it's near and dear to my heart. Philadelphia, born and raised. It's here, and I strongly I believe in it. I truly believe in it, and I know it's going to come. It's going to take time. Be patient. Good things come to those who wait. But I believe it's here. I believe it's coming. I believe that it's going to be accepted. I believe in it, and now it's just getting that buy-in from people. So those are just the different things that I want to just see. within the last three
I love that,
months.
bro. I can hear the. I mean, they spoke to me with work now, and just your passion that you have for people, your passion that you have for just that impact, for just that spreading love, for just it had nothing to do with everything that I got from you in our first interview. Really was just like the money, bro. Just it has nothing to do with that. It's more so just about what can come from. It's what's gonna go. The money is gonna come one way or another. You just have that drive, that instinct, and that talent to back it all up. But bro, I can really just say that in speaking with you in the initial interview and following up with you since then, and even plugging you in with my boy Jalen and just hearing what he had to say about you, and then just everything that you've been doing since, bro. I dig every bit of it 100%, and I know that it's only a matter of time. It's just that patience. It's just that trial and error. It's just that sometimes if it could go wrong, I say it all the time, like not even to speak bad karma on myself, but sometimes, if it can go wrong, it'll go wrong. Like just because, but why? Because you built for it. Because just as quick as it can go wrong, you can make it go right. It's something that you can learn from this and a learning experience. If nothing ever went wrong, you wouldn't have anything, learn from, repair from, upgrade from, and go from. So just in hearing you, bro, just in sitting down with you, just in going through the page, just in going through the website, the petition, like all of that, bro. I love it from start to finish. Like you said, I wasn't born in Philly, but I was raised there. So I see firsthand, what we need, what the youth need. I think about my little brother. I think about generations under him, just what we could really do to transform this city for them. But like you said, but when you see a lot of these like lounges and when you see just a lot of things that aren't directly benefiting the youth, and nothing against, I love to have my fun. I love to do what I do. But you also got to think about everything as a balance. And it's really not that true balance there. So I love, what that culture shift that you're trying to bring. And it's not easy, bro, because everybody's not going to hear, what you're saying. Everybody is not going to hear the whole nonprofit. You taught me even some things about a nonprofit today because I want to start my own nonprofit called Future. Basically, going around, it's going to stand for Forever Uplift and Transform and Unifying Resilient Environment. So basically, what I want to do with that is get in nobody better trademark that, all right? Because I ain't LLC did nothing yet, but I can't be taking that. But so nah, but I really recognize that going to college, like going to ECU, something that I recognized was that I literally had a class one day. And literally, the teacher kind of went around the room and asked everybody, "Hey, how prepared did you feel for college?" Everybody was kind of just like, "I didn't really, my high school didn't do this, my high school didn't do that." Got to me, I had a totally different answer. I said, honestly, to me, this is just my high school with more freedom, without the parents being here. I went to an all boys private high school, so without that all boys aspect and without the private aspect. But the one thing that they all had in common that was different from me, they all went to public school. I went to a private Catholic school, so we had to pay tuition. We had to wear the uniform. We had to, we were held to a different type of standard than Central was. And Central is the best high school in public high school in Philadelphia right now. My little brother is there, but I can see the clear cut difference between me and my brother's education level and experiences, even from a sports aspect. Like Catholic school is just different. But I said to me in my head, hearing that, that's not fair. Just because somebody didn't pay money for something, just because they might have not even had the access to do all of that, because my tuition was paid for once my mom passed away, my sophomore year. Basically, the brothers at my school noticed that I kept my grades up. They noticed that I played football, I was doing well. So they said, "Hey, we're going to pay your last 2 years." It's a blessing, bro. Like it doesn't happen to people. Like God rest my mom and everything, and just everything that had to happen. But that's a blessing. But for me, it's just like I felt like just because you don't have the money, just because you don't have necessarily the resources to be in a certain zone or district or whatever, doesn't mean that you should be denied the same opportunity to education, the same opportunity to resources, the same. Bro, we had college counselors assigned to us that we met with on a weekly basis that helped us with SATs, that helped us with ATTs, that sent off these letters. That did, I'm getting on my little brother. None of that stuff happened for him, and he spent arguably the most important year of his life, junior year, in a remote. But me, I'm catching an attitude and I'm getting hard on him, and I'm not even realizing, yo, we coming from two different backgrounds. Imagine if you were remote learning. Which I can't imagine that. I can't imagine, not having those college counselors, not having those people there to be there for me. I want everybody to get as close to those resources, as close to that same lifestyle as me as possible. So maybe no, you're not necessarily going to come to college and say, "Oh, I'm prepared. Oh, this is it. This is the one." But you're going to come and say, "I'm much better off than where I could have been or where I was." So yeah, I definitely do feel that, bro. Entering a space that's not heavily shed, a lot of light is not shed on education in the way that it should be. Teachers are underpaid. You look at the textbooks, you look at the class, things like that. Students are having to buy their own resources for school and things like that. Students are having to. I remember at the beginning of the year we had a list, and we have to bring all the supplies in, and that was like our supplies for the year. So we would pull Tommy tissue or Tommy pack of pen. That shouldn't have to be the case. You feel me? Like teachers are already having to come out of pocket to do all this design, to do all of this and that. They are arguably the most important. They are up there to me. Teachers are up there with healthcare. And granted, that's two different spectrums, but I mean just from an impact. Think about healthcare essentially could save your life. A teacher could make or break, a decision that you choose to make, or education level, or just whether you stay in school or not. A lot of you think about some of your educators, somebody stands out to you in your head. Why did they make that impact? Or what did they do? Did they show you extra love? Did they look out for you? So for me, I just want everybody to be on a level playing field before we start calling people out for this or calling people out for that. So that was just kind of just, a little bit of background for me, but it also goes to show and shed light that it's not easy doing what you're doing, bro. I love every bit of it, and I know that my followers kind of listen on the IG live. I know that my followers tapping in with here are gonna love it, are gonna support it, and if not, I encourage y'all to. I encourage y'all to just one get more information about it. Reach out to Nard, very humble individual, very very somebody who will sit down and break it down for you, who will talk to you about it, who will explain the mission the same way he came on here and talked to me and have a conversation about you, bro. So just in thinking about the future of PhilaEDA, just in thinking about you as a person, just in thinking about closing out this year, this last quarter, and kind of almost in a sense starting fresh but moving forward. What is something that you're most looking forward to with this, whether it be with the nonprofit organization, whether it be what can come from? Because something that kind of just excited me that you said you're waiting for people to, we're trying to get some more applications in from parents. That's exciting to me. That's like, wow, you're really about to like do this, like open this up. Like people are about to apply here. You're about to have a fully up and running operation. So I love that. It just gets, me excited, me hyped and everything and wanting to kind of support in any and every way that I can. But yeah, what is something that, just in thinking about everything that we talked about, all the work that you put in, all the processes, all the work that you're still going to have to put in, things that you're waiting on, things that the team is doing, things that are happening behind the scenes. What is something that, you're really most looking forward to with all of this?
I'm just looking for that change in the city. I'm looking for the gun violence to go down. I'm looking for the education system to go up. I'm looking for more people that look like me, that come from inner city, that African American minorities, to have that chance in life. And kind of to touch on what you just spoke about, going to college and being like, are you prepared for college? Our focus is we understand that people's tracks of life are different. So we have our curriculum set up where our students can take 4 different tracks outside of college. I mean, outside of high school, whether it is going to college, starting your own business, working for a business, or going up to pick a trade, we have our curriculum set up to cater to those students that are interested in those different avenues. But as far as just what I'm looking forward to in the future is just having a PhilaEDA in every section of Philadelphia, from north to northwest, northeast, south, southwest, West Philly, and then from there, after having high schools up and running, have a middle school, and then after we hit Philadelphia, go to other inner cities that are struggling. Michigan, Chicago, D.C., Atlanta, North Carolina, the whole nine. Going to these other inner cities where their education systems are lacking and bringing this curriculum to them. And then having this curriculum as a foundation and the basis for all curriculums across the board in America. I'm just looking for the impact, the smiling on the faces, the new hope from the parents and the students to just say, look, I had an opportunity to do what I wanted to do in life. And, this school, this organization gave me the chance to do that. I'm just I'm just looking forward to everything that just comes, bro. For real, for real.
I can hear it. I can feel it. I
I'm
can
just
see it.
happy.
All of that, man. I'm excited. It's to the point where when you open this thing up, I gotta be there for the ribbon cutting and all of that. We gotta do it. Another interview, a follow up, all of that. Just because, bro, this is really like it's amazing, bro. It's one thing to talk about something. It's one thing that, and I knew that we weren't just talking when we first discussed everything. But it's another thing when you hear about the process. You kind of see the plan for it. But it's another thing when you see the pieces being implemented one by one. And then, man, I'm telling you, once this thing is going crazy, it's going to go crazy. So I'm excited for it. So, was there any reason in particular that you chose to start with a high school?
Honestly, because middle school you can grab them young, and they'll retain it more. But high school is when you really start getting into a lot of stuff. Sports. You get a little. Your parents are a little bit more easy on you. Okay, you're a little bit more older. You start getting your license. You grow up a little faster when you're in high school. So being able to get these students now in preparation of graduating, because high school is a requirement. Unless you get homeschooled or go to a trade school or such, high school is a requirement. Middle school is a requirement. So being able to start with high school students and impact them between that 13 to 18 range is vital, because I know how I was when I was 13 to 18 years old. And I actually went through every different education system in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. So I went to a daycare center on Wadsworth for a little bit, and then I went to preschool at Abington Friends School, a private school from pre-K to fourth grade. Then I went to my neighborhood public school from fifth grade to eighth grade. I went to Roman from ninth to 10th, and then I graduated from Abington High School in a whole different township. So I saw the effects of the curriculum education system from a young age to a middle age to a adolescent to a teenager, and now an adult, going to Morehouse College, graduating from there, and about to finish my master's program at Georgetown. And the next year I'll be done 2022. So seeing the benefits of the high school that I went to, Abington, where they actually had a similar curriculum, but it was outside the means of Philadelphia. They were targeting more of a different township. So and fun fact, the prime board director and donor to Abington High School is Steven Schwartzman, who's the CEO and founder of Blackstone private equity firm.
Wow.
I'm just going to throw that out there. But anyway, that curriculum that we have kind of set me up for my business. When I went to Morehouse for business and things like that, I still didn't know about marketing and the markets and stocks and all that stuff, but I had a foundation of some business aspects from taking accounting classes and the whole nine of things of that matter. But making things more applicable for me I feel like in a high school avenue, and actually being able to get that information in high school. So it was like, okay, yeah, they say junior year is the most important year. You got to go to college, got to go get a job. The whole rat race that the society puts on us is like, if I would have known this information while I was in high school, I could have probably made a better, not a better, but maybe made a more informed decision on what I wanted to do post high school, whether it is go and further my education in college, or I have a basic understanding of the tools, the systems, what I need to do to start my own business. Maybe I was immersed in a curriculum where I have an internship and understand what internships, externships are, so I can actually go right ahead into the workforce and start making my money, and maybe work for those 4 years that I would if I'm an undergrad. And when those 4 years is over, use the information that I use in high school to start my own business, use my connections that I made, or go ahead and pick up a trade skill, a skill that's always going to be needed in the workforce. So I think just for me, I feel like just starting in the high school age is going to be more tangible and feasible than middle school, because it's like, okay, we teach them in middle school, but then they got to go to these underperforming high schools. So then they're teaching them a whole different type of curriculum. So starting with high school and then working our way down to a middle school where it's like, okay, you're going to middle school, you can come right to our high school and still stay within that understanding is kind of like where we wanted to go.
What you did there, I like that. As an aside, as a LaSalle explorer, I'm very sorry to hear that you went to Roman Catholic High School. But nonetheless, I love that. I didn't even really think about that, how you kind of shifted it at the end and things like that. But it makes sense, just build that at the top. That way, when you work your way down, it's a smooth transition all the way up. I love that. I love that a lot, bro. So, I feel like that. I don't know. I don't know what it is about being on camera. I don't know what it is about the visual space, but the gems just hit different today. I love, not to say that you wasn't dropping gems when we talked about working hard, because you definitely were. But I love, I think this one just hit a little different for me, hit a little closer to home. So before we wrap things up officially, before I give everybody the contact information, how to tap in, and the petition and the fundraisers and all of that, you feel like there's anything we haven't touched on today, whether it be about you, whether it even be about WorkNAR, whether it be about the future, PhilaEDA, anything like that?
Just remain a student. Education and learning is something that no one can take away from you. Learning is the only thing that will never depreciate. You can always evolve. There's always something to learn. There's always something to grasp. There's always something to just understand. So immerse yourself in information and, apply it. Kind of like what Mars said, being an entrepreneur, starting a podcast, he was like teeter-tattering if he really wanted to do it. And people were like, just do it. And there's this saying that people kind of mistake sometimes, where it's like a jack of trade is a master of none. but at the same time, they forget the rest of that quote, which is, but oftentimes better than a master of one. So in that instance, you can know you can be in all these different fields, you can know everything, but if you're not applying that information and actually being an expert in something, it don't really matter, because at some point you're gonna have to be. People are gonna come for you the information. So if you're not on your thing or your dean at every point in your time, then it don't really matter. You can have all these accolades and things that matter, but if you're not an expert at one thing and then branch off from that, and it's a saying that my mom tells me all the time: dig deep, not wide. So kind of looking at it as a tree. Build the foundation and let the roots spread from there. Focus on one thing and then just grow from that one thing. Don't try to do one things at one time, because that's when people start getting overwhelmed. I don't call it stress, but I call it more overwhelmed. People start losing themselves. People get off track. But when you focus on one thing, building that one thing, and then find different avenues within that, that's when things will happen for you. But that's really what I gotta just be on the lookout, follow us on the journey, and thank you again, Mark, for having us on here, having me on here. It's always great talking to you, and I'm definitely proud of the progress that you've been able to make.
We here. We here. So yeah, I'm definitely. I love that the fact that the account hit me. Y'all applied the pressure to me. Yo, we ready. I said, all right. And it was kind of funny because at first I didn't know if I was talking to like somebody else or you. So I was just like, like, let me just keep it. Let me just chill out real quick. Let me just and then they said we gonna put you on the president. I said, all right, Nard definitely gonna be on there and everything like that. But no, bro, I definitely like as much as you appreciate me, you thank me and all of that, bro. I humbly extend that to you 100 times over, bro. It's just been a blessing to be able to connect with you, to be able to have my LB connect with you, for y'all to be able to network, to see him now and Cali doing his thing, to see you out here, bro. That pop up, that event that y'all threw, that thing, it motivated. I was angry I couldn't go, but it motivated me just like you said, having the youngest vendor out there to having the oldest vendor out there to just be, bro. It's blessings all around us, bro. Angels all around us for sure. So this is one of my favorite parts of the podcast, just because I love the call to action now, in the sense, and some people might not see it as a call to action, but I see it as a call to action because he's about to tell you where to find him at, where to tap in with him at, what to look for, and everything like that. So for y'all, the ball is in your court at this point. I always tell people that no, we're not on here to force you or make you want to do anything that you don't want to do. But at the end of the day, everybody comes on here with their own respective craft, with their own dope, mindset, with a team behind them sometimes, but sometimes just solo dolo. But at the end of the day, it's all about we are the reason why we are where we are, in a sense. Like, you can look at years past and everything like that, but bro, I just feel like at the point that we're in right now, we're detrimental to our own success. We got to continue to plug each other in, continue to be that resource, continue to go hard for one another. So for everybody out there that's tapped in from every side, from the YouTube side, from just the audio side, from your side, from my side, can you just tell us where we can find PhilaEDA if we want to talk about if we want to find the petition, if we want to do the GoFundMe and everything like that? Where can we expect to see y'all and look out for y'all at?
Most definitely. So we have 3 different platforms. You can go to our Instagram, and our Facebook is the same tag, at PhilaEDA _. Again, it's at PhilaEDA _ for our Facebook and Instagram page. We also have a website, PhilaEDA.com, where you will find, where our board of directors are, our executive team, management team, our different sponsors that we have, where you can go and donate to us. Also, if you want to go and do our petition, go to change.org and just type in Philadelphia Entrepreneurial Development Academy, and our petition will pop up. And you can also go on our link in our Instagram bio to find all the donation page as well. PhilaEDA, Philadelphia Entrepreneurial Development Academy.
Yeah.
If you want to, go ahead and scan that right there.
Yeah.
Take you to it.
Hey, people don't know QR code is the next. Like, that's the next new thing, man. I'm about to put those on my business card. It's a one-stop shop. But no, Nar, all love, bro. Appreciate you. Like I said, I'm extending my blessings. I'm extending my hand. I'm extending my expertise in whatever matter you may need it. But it's definitely been love, bro, to be able to connect with you once again for a totally different entity. And who knows, we may have to follow up and do a trio, really make this, our own little Mar and Nar series for sure. But
I like how that sounds.
So we gonna table that, but offline we're gonna do something right. But no, bro, in all seriousness, I definitely do appreciate everything that you're doing, in my hometown, everything that you're doing for the youth, for the generations after me. I'm thinking about my kids. We think about our kids, and things like that, bro. So it's definitely impactful, and it definitely does not go without saying that it's appreciated, bro. We know that behind the scenes it can get crazy, it can get hectic, but you know what you signed up for in a sense, and you're going to embrace it, and you have embraced it thus far, bro. So I commend you, I pat you on the back and everything, and I thank you. And to everybody out there, it goes without saying, we wouldn't be where we are without the support, man. From the merchandise to the giveaways to the just the listens, man. The fact that there's people out here, just I check my analytics almost every day. The fact that people have reviewed us, the fact that people have listened to us, brought stuff from us, it's just beautiful. I really can't say it enough. Some people probably get tired of me saying it, but it's all love. So nah, from me to you, bro, thank you, 100%. Thank you to everybody else out there. This has been another episode of the Down to Business podcast here with Tamar Turner.